Hello indie game fans, I have even more upcoming 2D action platformers in this video, having quite the mix of settings and themes as well as one very weird entry, so see what's coming up for 2022 and beyond. Let's begin with Star Heart's Launch Point, an 8-bit retro title that I think looks fantastic, perfectly capturing the look and feel of games from the NES era. This has you playing as Prin, an interstellar revolutionary who is on her first adventure, uncovering the secrets of a company's intergalactic investments while awakening the powers within. It uses the NES color palette and is pixel perfect in terms of art, but the gameplay itself has you exploring alien planets to rescue creatures. There are Metroidvania-like exploration abilities like a dash, float, grapple, and slide, but I believe it is structured as independent levels or planets, having ranged combat as its primary mechanic, so there is some Metroid DNA here. It is about 30% funded on Kickstarter with 19 days left to go, so please check out the campaign page and support if interested. A cute little title is Downpurr, one where you play as a cat wizard in a world of rain and magic. You are rescuing various moon kitties and are harnessing the power of starlight from defeated foes to power up your spells, where the highlight has to be the pixel art, which, while not tremendously high-bit or detailed, does look fantastic in my opinion. This, plus a game that is just filled with cats, makes me want to play, but the good news is that this releases very soon. Speaking of cats, one of the weirdest titles in development is KinnikuNeko, one where you play as a cat with a muscle-bound body, having to save Earth from an alien invasion. It takes inspiration from Metal Slug and Gunstar Heroes, which are legendary games in this space, so I do hope this turns out well. This developer did actually launch a Kickstarter campaign about 3 years ago which was unsuccessful, but I've seen signs of life on Twitter recently, so I do still think this is in development, making it one to keep an eye on. Speaking of classic inspirations, Wild Dogs sure looks like Contra in many ways, even having various color palettes that makes it look like a retro title. It is yet another story of fighting off an alien attack, where most interestingly, appears to have a variety from side-scrolling action platformer, some stealth or puzzle elements where you play as a dog, more action where the dog gets in a mech, and also vertical shoot-'em-up action looking very retro and up my alley. An adorable looking title is Belle Boomerang, another retro entry, this time looking more like Wonder Boy, where you're on a quest to lift the curse from the monarchs of the kingdom by fighting your way through enemies. The gimmick here is that of the legendary boomerang, serving as the primary weapon of our heroine, where it has the ability to turn enemy attacks back upon themselves, looking pretty neat. If you've been playing games for quite a while, I'm sure you'll be able to see the inspiration of Operation Highjump quite clearly, in that this run-and-gun action title sure looks like Metal Slug, which is a series that I love. It does have a heavier theme of being set in World War II, but there are fantasy elements like demons and UFOs as well, where curiously, it mixes pixel art characters with hand-drawn backgrounds. even has mini-games to change up the pacing of the game, raising more than 11 times its target on Kickstarter, so do look forward to this later this year. I cannot remember if I've covered Ghost Knight: A Dark Tale on the channel before, but regardless, it deserves a special mention since it looks like an awesome one of these. You play as a ghost who is bound to a suit of armor, having to battle your way through the world in order to stop the Mad King. We do see things come full circle in indie games, where this of course looks like ghosts and goblins from the lance throwing animation, but I do hope that it is balanced more fairly and is not as brutally difficult. It does have a TBA release date, but it sure seems like an October game to me, so keep an eye out for this. As compared to Ghost Knight, I'm quite sure that I covered Saviourless before, where it seems like this game has undergone a little bit more of a transformation, where I initially thought this was a beautiful hand-drawn puzzle platformer with light combat, but there are full-on hellish souls-like creatures in this game, with some great animations as well, making it a title of interest. One of the highlights of the Nintendo Indie World Showcase a couple of days ago is Gunbrella, the next game from developer Doinksoft, who made the 1-bit Metroidvania Gato Roboto, where they've intentionally not used Metroidvania to describe the game, so it shows up on this list. The titular weapon is a gun with an umbrella attachment that acts as a shield, as well as mobility options like gliding and swinging, with quite an interesting semi-Western inspired theme and setting. The action looks amazing, and given the pedigree, should certainly be on your wishlist. One of the most impressive titles to come along in recent memory is Anton Blast, a fast-paced pixel art title that sure looks like a Wario Land game in all but name, where you play as a hopeless drunk named Dynamite Anton, whose booze was stolen by Satan himself, having to fight his way through hell in order to get it back. The gimmick here is that once you get to the end of a level and recover your booze, you need to trigger a detonator and run back to the start, looking like quite an interesting element. This has impressed and has already surpassed its Kickstarter target of $75,000 within 5 days, but do check it out for rewards and stretch goals, but a game like this deserves support, taking the #1 spot. For more action platformers, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.